What's up, guys? Well, it's been 1 year already. That's right. It's the anniversary of the Slowly Read channel. 1 year ago, I posted my very first video, and, the rest, as they say, is history. And guys, I am blown away with how far this thing has come in just that amount of time. It really does blow my mind. I remember when I got my first subscriber, David, from David's Book Reviews, and that was like such a huge thing for me, and shout out to David. It was just so cool to wake up the next day and have a subscriber, and just it just made me feel good, like validated in a way that just somebody out there had watched something that I put out and they liked it. And, here we are now, where I'm a little bit under 2,000, and it's crazy. That is absolutely fucking bonkers to me, and thank you guys for just, being willing to sign up to my shit show, because I do know that it's a little rough around the edges, and maybe it's not, the most wholesome or shiny fucking show out there, but I always try to make it as, as much me and, less like someone else, and I just hope that you guys kind of understand that and get that. This thing was really built to be kind of honest and open and helpful. And, along the way, I have to say I've really been helped out by a lot of you. There has been so many people in the Discord. There's been other booktubers, just other readers in the comments. So many of you guys have really helped me along this journey, maybe, as much as I hopefully have helped you. And this is one of the main things that's really helped me keep going. One of the main motivations of what's keeping me going. And I can't thank you guys enough. I know that's all kind of cliche, whatever, but I don't give a shit. Like, I really do appreciate your time. I do know, as just a parent, a person that's getting older, all that stuff, how much time is precious. So those minutes that you spend down here at Slowly Read with me are truly, truly appreciated. So without further ado, I do want to get into some stuff, guys. A little while ago, I did ask you guys to give me your questions. I know I don't do a lot of tag stuff, so I thought this would be a great time for me to be able to kind of just parlay back and forth with you guys, because some of you have been riding dirty with me from day one, and some of you might be very new. So this is a great chance for me to just answer your questions. And for those that are new, just really, guys, like these answers, I'm going to try to give you the best answers I can give you. I do love to talk, and I do think that if you're going to ask me something, I owe you the most in-depth, honest answer I can give you, and not just like, oh yeah, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. All right, so buckle up. Okay, so first things first, it's pretty obvious. You guys probably noticed that the background and the production value here has gone down a little bit. And that's because I forgot to charge my light and I'm on the road. So I'm just making do with what we can make do. All right? You might hear some dogs barking and a whole lot of ruckus, and you might not even be able to see my face. But I brought my mic, so hopefully you can hear me, and we'll just kind of, lean heavy on that, even though I do have the voice of an asshole, but I do think, I think it's better than my face. So let's get into this, huh? Okay, so first one from the world of AJP. Newer fan, thank you. So the questions, a couple questions here. Favorite character in the second Apocalypse series? Cnaiur Urskiotha. Just gotta go with Cnaiur. He is so tragic, so brutal, so very many things. He's very, primitive and just kind of barbaric, but profound and kind of just very intelligent at the same time. Some of his stuff, his backstory and that trackless step stuff really stuck with me, and I think that a lot of people can kind of relate with that situation. And not just that, he really balanced well off of another character, Confus, and just those two. And the whole war is intellect stuff, and just, Cnaiur Urskiotha has got my black heart for sure. The next question was favorite band. Man, I tell you what, this is such a hard question, and I might give you a shitty answer just because I'm all over the place. I literally can listen to just about any kind of music, and it's just kind of whatever strikes the mood. I can listen to older stuff. I really dig a lot of Journey and the Eagles, and I really like doom metal like Black Sabbath. I also like heavier stuff, like Make Them Suffer. If I want something like a little bit more jivey, maybe Flamingosis or what is that? Beach House is like a group I'll listen to if I want to be sad. I mean, there's just so much music out there, and I just really try to find stuff that fits the mood or hits me like in an emotional way. Much like how I'm trying to find that kind of stuff in books, I look for that same kind of stuff in music, if that makes sense. Favorite show? Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't even know where to start. I really liked like recent shows. I really liked the Last Kingdom with Uhtred. Man, that is good. But then even also the other show called The Kingdom, which is like a feudal Korean play kind of setting, but with zombies. Like that shit is so brutal, nasty, cool. Those two shows are really amazing. There's just so much out there. Of course, I really enjoyed Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody liked Game of Thrones. I know a lot of people talk shit about that, the end, whatever. Honestly, I didn't mind. I dug that show all the way up till the end. I think I didn't like the very, very, very last episode. But all the other shit that people hated, I actually enjoyed, really. Favorite? Okay, so next one. This one is good. Your favorite comic book run? Now, this one's, I have it down. Like, I was a diehard X-Men guy, like, forever. X-Men till the day I die. But my favorite comic run is actually of Peter David's, and it's not his Hulk run, which is a lot of people love that run, and it's great. But it's actually his run with X Factor, and it was, gosh, man, was it like I want to say issues 71 through 83, something like that, I want to say, where he started off with Larry Stroman, and they basically took over and started the new X Factor that had Havoc and Polaris and Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, and Guido and Rain and Quicksilver. Just, that was one of the most amazing comic book runs, just personally to me, because it was just maybe when I was getting it, and Peter David had that like pop culture kind of dad jokey kind of humor, which fit some of these characters that he was working with really well, like Guido and Jamie Madrox. But he also was able to really write these like insecure superheroes and really take what other people felt were like kind of B-C list characters. And to me, I mean, he made that like gave you like A-list material. Their journey and their battles and everything was so cool, man. And really like that when they first started too, Larry Stroman, man, nobody could draw Polaris's hair like Larry Stroman. Now, I mean, as we go on, I want to say Al Milgrom did a really good job as well. There are some panels of Havoc that are just some of my favorite comic book art ever. And yeah, that is a great run. Now, the stuff that happened after that in X Factor gets criticized a lot, like, oh, it kind of fell off after Peter David. But I will say this, I really commend what, Marvel, X-Men, all those X books were doing with like the legacy virus, because it was something that kind of mirrored the AIDS virus that was, really impacting our day-to-day life in the real world. And so they were able to kind of inform kids, because in some ways there was a lot of stigma out there about AIDS. And so some ways, like by using the legacy virus, kind of helped us understand this situation that we were really in the real world. I just really, like I said, I really commend them. And as well, it gave opportunities for some amazing character arcs. Our next question was, have you read any Lovecraft? Only the horror at Red Hook, and only because I was trying to see exactly what Victor Laval was flipping in his book, Black Tom. For those that don't know, Victor Laval is actually a Lovecraft fan, but there's obviously some conflict of, he's got a little bit of a love-hate relationship with his favorite author, and he wrote Black Tom as just kind of a different perspective of that story, and it hits really hard. So yes, I don't know a whole lot about Lovecraft. I have several friends that are diehard fans, and I gotta say the mythos and everything is very intriguing and interesting, and something I eventually am definitely going to dive head first into. Yeah, I mean, I just don't have that much yet under my belt. And their last question was, who do you think will win in the fight? Cnaiur or Sciotha, most violent of men, breaker of horse and men, or Conan the Barbarian, the Cimmerian king, raider of the Elephant Tower? So I'm going to go with Cnaiur, and some of you might get all little antsy in the pantsy to start hitting that keyboard like, oh, fuck yourself. But guys, I haven't read any Conan. I have read of Cnaiur. So, I mean, he's my dude. I do know Conan. Really, when I think of Conan, I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is also a bad motherfucker. Don't get me wrong. But honestly, I'm going to quote Madness from TSA Cast, where he said, Cnaiur is Conan on crack. So if you are Conan on crack, then I feel like you have a little bit of an advantage over just the regular Conan. So Cnaiur Sciotha for the win. All right, so the next question is from Johanna, who also has a channel, and you guys should go check out. I know she did a great review of Blackstone Heart, and I hope that she keeps going on that one. She Dreams in Blood is great, Johanna. All right, so she says, I would love to know your journey becoming a tattoo artist. I would also love to know, do you have any tattoos inspired by books? So my journey on becoming a tattoo artist is quite a long one, but to kind of make it, summed up, okay? I've always been somewhat artistic, but I really like to draw like cartoony little doodles and stuff like that. I eventually got into graffiti, which was a big thing for me because I realized how much it was an outlet. It really took care of some shit that was going on in me. The problem is that the kind of graffiti I was doing was not necessarily legal. So I got in some trouble, and I was in a point where I couldn't really paint or anything anymore, and I had realized that this stuff was kind of an important part of my life. I needed to kind of get this shit out of me and onto some sort of canvas, and then I realized that maybe an outlet for me could be tattooing, and I really did a lot of stuff. I started drawing again, and I went back to college for a little bit just for enrichment courses in art to kind of buff up on basics. I put together a portfolio, and I actually moved from my hometown to the city, and I just shopped my portfolio around shop to shop, and it like a fucking vacuum salesman or something. It was so weird. It was such a strange thing, but I got picked up fairly quickly, and man, my journey as from there on, as an apprentice to where I'm at today has been a fucking wild ride, and one that has just been painful, frustrating, benefiting or beneficial at the same time. And I love my job, but I mean, it's nuts. I mean, if any tattoo apprentice will tell you that their fucking life is hell. So yeah. I mean, but here I am, like I said, I travel for work, and I just have one of the coolest jobs ever. Like, being a tattoo artist, for me, a big appeal to it, not only for the artistic outlet, was also being able to kind of reclaim some measure of freedom over my life. Because as a tattoo artist, I kind of get to be a pirate. I'm kind of in one of the last industries that in some ways is a middle finger to the man, the 9-to-5 working grind job. In some ways I'm kind of beating that in my own way, and that really does fit me because I've always been that kind of kid. So it's so funny that I ended up as a tattoo artist, and maybe those teachers that were yelling at me for drawing on the desk should recognize. Anyway. But also on your other, I guess to sum it all up, guys, I love my job. It's really kick-ass that, and any time I start complaining about it, I have to kind of humble myself and realize, dude, you draw on fucking people for money. It's pretty kick-ass. And then also to your other question, do I have any inspired by books? No, not really, not yet. But it is funny because I do have an appointment for the end of June where I will be getting a tattoo that is very book oriented. It is actually going to be my Jorg tattoo, one that I've been kind of working on and trying to get in the mix of getting, just being able to get it done, getting it designed, all that stuff. Man, well, we're finally here, and I am so excited. I cannot wait. I'll probably do a video like reveal or some shit for that. I mean, it's just that's a big thing for me because it's such a huge character for me in reading and just a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for that, and I can't wait to show you guys. All right, so next question comes from Michael Wagner. And, okay, so this is just a question of, can you read Red Queen's War before reading The Broken Empire? And guys, yes, you can. I know that there's going to be some, like, Broken Empire hardcores, that are out there going, no, you can't. You need to do this so you can get the crossover experience. Well, I just feel like you could do it either way. You could read Red Queen's War first and then go into Broken Empire. Like I said, there's some people that might not even want to read Broken Empire because they don't like Jorg or the Road Brothers. So I would still say read Red Queen's War. You could still read it in its own. So very much. I know this, that's a great question, Michael. I know that these are Q&A questions, but shit, why not? That's something that probably a lot of people might get confused on. So thanks for asking. All right. So the next question is from Lorne. It says, I imagine that you had a long break from reading in your slow and struggling days. What book was it that you read that broke you out of that reading lull and put you on the path to become an avid reader and led you eventually to starting your channel? So this is kind of a stages answer. So I would say that the one I want to mention is Prince of Thorns. Really snapped me out of a certain reading like struggle and just slump that I had going for a minute, really kind of coming off of Star Wars books. And that really reinvigorated my dark spirit and made me dig into stuff that I had no idea was there. And I started discovering a lot of cool stuff. I mean, that really kept me going hot for a long time. But I have to admit, I did hit yet another slump. And I want to say what pulled me out of that was The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. And that is the most amazing world-building book that you could ever get your goddamn hands on. It is a masterpiece. It's also hard to read, but I wanted answers. I was like really just deep into Tolkien's stuff, and I just wanted to consume everything. And so I had such a passion for the knowledge that really the Silmarillion really lit a fire in me, and I just found it to be one of the most beautiful, tragic, just awesome stories in fantasy. And it once again really lit a fire and had me back out there questing for more. And though once again I would kind of hit a little bit of a slump. Life hits, man. You got kids or a job and things are happening and you just might not find time to read. And then the one that really snapped me out and then kind of pushed me into starting a channel of all books was Dune by Frank Herbert. After I read Dune, and I read Dune during the hunker down thing, I had kind of stopped playing video games and watching Netflix because I was burning out, and I picked up a book and it blew me away. It just blew me away, and it was one of those things, man. I was once again found myself in a situation where I just wanted to talk about it, and not really a lot of people around me wanted to talk about it. So, voila, get on the fucking internet and start chattering away, and maybe somebody will want to listen. And, fucking you did. So, God bless ya, everyone. All right, so the next question's from Darren, and it says, what's your favorite series? So, God, that's a tough one, but I will tell you this. I got I would say the Broken Empire trilogy is one of my bar none favorite trilogies of all time. Now, as far as series, I will say the Manifest Delusion series by Michael R. Fletcher has captured my black heart in a way that it's a different kind of writing that Fletcher does. Someone called it filth dark. I like to call it heavy metal fantasy. I just really, really dig what he does. And it's just one of those stuff, like when he puts out books, man, I read them and I don't want to put them fucking down. It's just, he really is doing something that caters to my specific needs. I mean, it's like he's writing books like just tailored for me sometimes, it seems. But yeah, he is definitely, like, the Manifest Delusion series is definitely one of my fucking favorite series. The only reason why it's like hard for me to answer this is because it's like you got the Second Apocalypse series by R. Scott Baker, and that is the most epic of epic and cool and just mind-blowing, powerful transcendent fucking, you know what I mean? All the words, guys. I love this second Apocalypse series. It's so next level, it's hard to compete with it, you know what I mean, with the other books. So it's like, it's almost in its own category. I love the second Apocalypse series. For those that don't know, that's the Prince of Nothing trilogy and the Aspect Emperor series, which I got one book left to go. And yeah, that's an amazing series, as well as the Manifest Illusions. All right, so the next question's from Steve. From Steve Talks About Books and Stuff, another channel you guys should go check out. And Steve is asking, what book surprised you in a good way since starting the channel? Well, a lot. A lot of books have surprised me in good ways. Obviously, The Darkness That Comes Before was a huge, was it surprising? I kind of knew that had the potential. So maybe I don't know. It was surprising that it hit me on such a hard level, for sure. I want to say a big surprise for me was like Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I absolutely love that book. Another one being Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman. That book is absolutely fucking stunning, amazing, and everyone should read it. Black Hawks by David Ragg is one of the funniest fantasy adventures with like hyper violence and just a good old time, and I can't wait to continue that one, which second book is coming out soon. That one was a really good, pleasant surprise. And also I have to throw in, Congregation of Jackals by S. Craig Zahler, because that was a book that was just sent to me, and holy hell, it was so good. So good. Okay, so the next question comes from Garrett Goldberg. Thank you, Garrett. It says, if you have to spend a month on a stranded island with one First Law character, which would you pick? Oh, man. So, I mean, today, the guy I would pick today, probably not the guy I would pick, in my past. In my past, most assuredly, I'd be picking Casca. And me and Casca would just cannibalize each other in like alcoholic ways. It would just be a mess. It'd be probably sad as fuck, but there'd also be a way to look at it as hilarious. Just much like Casca. But today, shit, I don't know. That's a tough one. You know what? Probably Shivers. Shivers is a cool-ass dude, man. I like Shivers. I feel like he's one of those dudes that wouldn't... if he actually could catch a break and just get a chance to chill, fucking catch some sun and fucking whatever, dude, yeah, it's probably Shivers. Shivers is cool. Okay, so the next question's from Lady Jane Books, another booktuber you guys should go check out. And she asks, how did you get into reading? Was there a book that made you want to read more again? Congratulations. Thank you, Jane. So, yes, the book that got me into reading was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, and kind of working with that as well, The Vampire Lestat. Now, I had already seen the movie Interview with the Vampire before I read the book, and that kind of actually helped me. As a struggling reader, I had kind of knowledge before going in, so I had kind of something like a framework to kind of work off of as I, tripped into her world. Now, The Vampire Lestat was my first real journey out on my own without any like movie knowledge or anything. I just had to like get into the story and digest it on its own, no training wheels. And that shit really was amazing. I love that fucking book, and it really blew me away and made me understand how amazing reading really can be. And yeah, I was off to the races at that point. Okay, so the next question, I believe it's from the Phobos. Is it Phobos? If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat it? Yeah, I'd eat it. If you guys are confused at all, this is actually from one of the funniest Saturday Night Live skits, dude. That is a good one. So if you don't know, Will Ferrell and Jeff Goldblum, I believe. And it was so good. It was like Harry Carey doing like the outer space talk and shit. It's so good. If the moon was made of barbecue spare ribs, would you eat it? Jeff Goldblum's like, what? He's like, it's not a hard question. Just answer it so we can go home. Whatever. I see ya. You're fucking funny. All right, so the next question's from Valet in Bulk. Oh, fuck yeah. So, since reading Beyond Redemption, which was the top spot on Lawrence's grimdark scale, have you read anything that you think should dethrone it as the most hardcore grimdark out there? It's tough to say, and it's not because I'm like a huge Fletcher fan. I honestly do think that there are more brutal books, more violent or more visceral, and more like maybe have more disturbing stuff. Definitely Richard K. Morgan and The Steel Remains, and that the Land Fit for Heroes, or Anna Smith Sparks' Empires for Dust, or R. Scott Baker's Second Apocalypse are all just as dark as dastardly as they come, guys. And it's funny that they have some of those books have the rating they have, because I would change that. Now, are they more than, like I said, maybe so in certain areas they are maybe more than Beyond Redemption, but Beyond Redemption as well has different aspects of grimdark in that gallows humor and twisted, this and that, and just it's very filled to the brim with gross prose and descriptions, and just he really slathered that thing in filth and muck, and just it's great. That's why it owns such a special place in my heart, and that's also why it probably rates so high on that scale. But if one was to dethrone it, I would say I would expect it to either be Anna Smith Spark, Richard K. Morgan, or R. Scott Baker. Okay, so the next question is from Brian Lassiter, and it says, who would win in a fight, Jorg or Jalan? And I think most people will agree with me. It's going to be Jorg. Now, I know some people are like, oh, it's a clear cut. Now, I don't think it is so clear cut. I do think that Jalan is a very intelligent man as well. He also has the berserker blood, so there's the possibility of him just going, red Jalan on you. But I think that Jorg has those similar things going on with himself as well. And he just has the all-around defiant fuck you attitude where he just one way or the other is going to get the result he wants, no matter what. So I do think with that kind of determination, he will see Jalan defeated, but I don't expect it to be so clear, like really easy. I think that Jalan would throw some hurdles old Jorgy boy's way. Okay, so the next question's from Andrew Hansen. What's up, Andrew? And the question is, what prompted me to start my channel? So, I mean, really, guys, like I said, I was during that hunker down moment where I had been playing video games, watching Netflix, and just like going brain dead and not feeling very fulfilled. What was on the horizon wasn't looking good. It was just kind of, poor times. Let's just say that. Feeling sad in more ways than one. And what really lifted my spirits was reading that book, Dune. And so all I wanted to do was get some more of that good feeling. So I was like, shit, I should just keep reading. And, that really perpetuates itself into this unstoppable beast for me. But I think I wanted to start a channel well before I actually started a channel. I knew of BookTube from a while back, but I didn't really know the state and everything that it grew and evolved into. I remember guys like Eagles Books reviews and Che Adventure, like the Bottled Imp and stuff. Like, I remember checking out a lot of their stuff, and I remember some people, like, even that I respected, they shredded books that I loved. And that was one thing I started to understand. It was like, man, I didn't see a lot of, like, I guess, advocacy for some of these dark and dastardly books. Like, there was a lot of shitting on them, and I just kind of wanted to be like, hey, there's people that love them too, And once I got into the whole BookTube thing, I quickly found out I was not the only one. There are so many other people that love all this dark and dastardly shit too, and I by all means am not original. But I just think that, I think it's important for us all to have a voice. There's plenty of room underneath the BookTube umbrella, and like, there needs to be somebody kind of speaking on the good parts of these books. It's easy to just dismiss them. So who likes them? Well, why do you like them? Because maybe I'll like them too. That shit just needs to be out there. I hate when you have an overwhelming amount of one thing. Like, it just becomes like this echo chamber. It's like it's almost like it just becomes a fad where you're like, it's cool to fucking hate on this shit. I don't know. I'm probably going way too far with this. But really, man, I mean, I wanted to start a channel because I wanted to connect to people. I wanted to talk about these books. I was sick and tired of reading a book and it fucking being the best feeling in my body and it, like, in my brain. I'm just through the roof, like, loving it, and I got no one even to talk to. Fuck that. So I started this thing, whether I was going to get made fun of, whether no one was going to watch it, well, no matter what, I was just going to start it and see where it went, So I don't know if that answers your question at all. I think I might have went way off track. I'm sorry, brother. Okay, so the next question's from the Sci-Fi Barbarian, and it's favorite First Law book and character and why. So my favorite First Law book is Best Served Cold. It's also the one I'm up to, and I just think it's just got such better like storytelling, like the way that it's paced and structured. It still has all that Abercrombie that you love with his his prose and the action and just the all-around fuckery and funny, cynical smartassery. It's just all there in spades and really hits on all cylinders. It's not like, where you're waiting for one book to kind of, you got to read one book to get to the next one for it to kind of start to click. No, it's just one and you're fucking on fire. I love that book. I love the characters he brought too, because Friendly quickly became one of my favorite First Law characters, and he might be still my favorite just because I have such a personal connection to Friendly in a certain way. I also really love Casca for the same reasons. Personally, the shit that is not so shiny about Casca, I can kind of relate to in a way. He's an extreme version, but I can relate to this, the not so shiny parts of some of these characters. I really love the dirtbags that he creates. You know what I mean? I did love Jazal, and a lot of people hated him. I dig a lot of the characters that he creates that people fucking hate. And so I would say, Friendly, Casca, Jazal are definitely some of my favorites. Okay, so the next one's from Padrasimo, and do you worry about getting depressed from all the dark stuff that you read? And also about reading the Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian is on my to-do list. It's actually here in this room, so I'm going to be getting to it very soon. Now, as far as worrying about being depressed, nope, not at all, because I love this shit. I look for it. It's just much similar to guys like how horror fanatics, they get into horror and you're like, oh, aren't you worried about becoming violent like serial killers? No, they love the stuff. It's what tickles their fascination. Some of us are bent a little bit twisted, you know what I mean? But it doesn't make us bad people. It just means that we like that kind of stuff. And that's a good thing, right? Isn't it good that we have differences and we have different perspectives and see things from different angles? I do love that you guys are worried about my mental health, but trust me, I'm doing kick-ass over here. I really love the dark and dastardly stuff, even since I was a kid. And some of that just might be because of the imagery that I was being plugged into. Movies like Ridley Scott's Legend, that was a dark movie. It might be like a fantasy tale, but imagine being like a 6-year-old kid and laying eyes on Blix the Goblin, killing unicorns, or Darkness, Tim Curry in that devil makeup. It's just like, that shit's pretty twisted, and it scared the shit out of me. Meg Mucklebones fucking terrified me, scarred me for life, but also really created this fascination with the dark and the dastardly. So yeah, I'm not worried. So I'm okay over here. Don't worry, okay? I'll let you know when you need to start sending me Lexapro and Prozac and shit, okay? Okay, so the next question's from Shulgi the Innkeeper, and it says, what books are you looking forward to reading the most? Best story outside of grimdark? I'm looking forward to a lot of books. The best story outside of grimdark? Not really. Don't really have one, I guess, besides maybe the Books of Ice, as well as Lawrence's Impossible Times trilogy, I guess. The Dune, it's not really grimdark or whatever, so stuff like that. Dark Tower, but Dark Tower is everything. So, still there's some sci-fi and stuff, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of grimdark still. Are you planning on doing more author interviews? Yes, I'm so apologize to David Ragg. I doubt he's watching this, but I'm gonna try to get a hold of him again. I got to get him on here. I already had it set up. I just really dropped the ball. I got to get him on here. And then, whoever else I can get on, guys, I'll get on. I like to talk to these guys. And then the most fascinating historical period. Oh shit, I might go off on this. Okay, so now I got my camera's dying, guys. I'm sorry. So anyway, most fascinating historical period for me, without a doubt, is the Julio-Claudian dynasty. This is like a moment in Roman history with 5 emperors, starting with Augustus, ending with Nero. You're talking about rolling off of like Julius Caesar, and Augustus, in many ways, is very like a guy that you can respect through and through, and his accomplishments and just everything. But just the way that it starts and the way that it ends with Nero and everything, it is bonkers, fucking crazy. All these people are nuts. And people like complain about grimdark. I'm like, dude, read Roman history. Dude, like Nero's mom, Agrippina, holy shit, like that girl was hustling and fucking conniving, dude. Oh man, there's some great character. I mean, they're not characters, they're real people. That's what I'm saying. Like I love Roman history, and that's one of the maybe another thing that really shaped my like love for the dark and the dastardly was Roman history. Okay, so the next question's from Bob Stanley, and question 1: what books do you think have been exaggerated in terms of their grim and dark characteristics? Without starting too much shit, I would say The Poppy War and The Blade itself. I mean, I know that is going to start a ruckus. But, guys, I just think that R.F. Kuang implied way too much in The Poppy War, book 1. I'm just talking about book 1. And I also think the coming-of-age shit in the beginning was just nowhere near something that I would consider grimdark. And then The Blade itself has some grimdark elements, but all around, just nothing really happens. And you're talking about the majority of the plot revolves around a fencing tournament, and fencing is not dastardly, okay? So before you go, oh, you motherfucker, kill yourself, I hate you. All right, I mean, I guess you could do that if you really want to, but the thing is, guys, I'm just, this is just me being me and just giving my opinion, and I am by no way, shape, or form a fucking grimdark authority, okay? Just, don't ever let my shit change your shit. This is just me answering your questions, okay? Bob's second question was, what do you think the grimdark genre provides that other genres do not necessarily provide? This is a great question, Bob. I think that grimdark provides a voice to people that feel less than, maybe disenfranchised youth, or people that have just been fucked with. Maybe you're just a person that's made some bad decisions in life. Maybe you're trying to turn things around, but in that moment, you don't feel like a good person. You know what I mean? Yes, you're trying to do better, but you still have a lot of wreckage to clear up, and just looking at it makes you feel like the fucking villain way more than it makes you feel like the good guy. So it's hard for you to get behind, or you enjoy Lord of the Rings and Aragorn, all Strider, all these guys. It's just like, yeah, they're awesome to you, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, but it's not like me. And I do think that grimdark can bring that character that's a little bit more like you, that you can relate with. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't buy into the inherently good thing. I have seen human beings be horrible pieces of shit. I've seen them be good too, but in my... I'm very cynical, and I think that that's another thing that grimdark has given me. It's given me a cynical perspective. It's given me characters that see things, their outlook on the world is somewhat similar to mine. Once again, like I said, grimdark offers something else to a different style of reader. I just think that there's a lot that grimdark has to offer, and it gets condemned really quick. Like, it gets condemned way before anyone actually does a little research or anything. It's easy to shun the darkness, but I'm guaranteeing you that grimdark brings a complexity to the reader that if you're willing to dig deep, man, you are going to get all kinds of stuff thrown at you that will blow your mind. You will see character development. You will get understanding into motivation that not only will help you with characters, it could help you with people in your own life. Okay, so then Bob's third question was, basically, have I ever read something, had to come across a scene that was too bleak, too fucked up for me? No, not yet. I mean, I've seen some stuff that pushed the envelope for sure, but I guess you never really know until you get there. I didn't know what I'm willing to put up with or what I'm not. I have to kind of go out there and see. That's why I really encourage you guys to go out there yourselves all the time and see it. I understand that some of this stuff has a bad reputation, and some of the stuff might really be triggering for you. You're like, oh, I've heard this, and I just don't want to have nothing to do with it. I would just still, I encourage you to go out there and see for yourself. You be the master of your own destination here in the reading world, man. Take advantage of this shit. Go check it out, and you decide. Is it too dark or is it not? Personally, I'm still waiting for somebody to bring it into Too Darkville. I'm waiting for that person to just hit me with some shit that makes me go, nope, I can't do it. Nope, fuck me. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but somebody out there could be like, challenge accepted. All right, so the next question's from Philip Chase, the professor. All right, you guys should all know who Philip Chase is. If you don't, go watch his channel. He's the best. Anyway, Phillips asks, are there any non-grimdark series I'm looking into? Yeah, I think I already mentioned this, but if I didn't, the Impossible Times trilogy by Mark Lawrence, as well as his Books of Ice trilogy as well. I'm up to book 2 now on both of those. I got to get into book 2. So yeah, that's what I'm basically, from what I can think of right off the top of my head, that's the 2 that are most anticipated that are nowhere near Shapeform grimdark books. Okay, so our next question's from Charles Gabriel, and he's wondering if I ever need to take a break after too many grimdark books, and if I have palate cleansers, short novellas, or anything from a different genre. Once again, I know that you guys are worried about my mental health, but I am doing just fine. And so no, I don't really feel the need to take a break from grimdark. It's just what I like, so that's what I choose. I'm like purposely doing this to myself. And then as far as palate cleansers, yes, sci-fi is so good for palate cleansers, or novellas. Yes, I'm big on novellas. I think that those are great for slow and struggling readers can really get into those things and get done with them and feel accomplished and really start to build experience from those, as well as experienced readers can get into a novella to just break up shit, the monotony of getting super deep into a series. So yes, good question. Okay, so the next question comes from Fantastic Philosophy, and she's asking, being a grimdark reader, do you also listen to grimdark music, if there is such a thing? And if there is, do you have examples of it? I would say yes, and I would definitely say that Make Them Suffer is pretty close to a grimdark band, or at least their old stuff. If you go back and you listen to Scraping the Barrel or Maelstrom or song like The Widower, Never Bloom, these are heavy, just dark, awesome songs. Not for everybody, much like the grimdark subgenre. So yeah, I would say that those guys are riding the line pretty good. Maybe also bands like, Cattle Decapitation or Job for a Cowboy, I think would all be, pretty good nominations for that. Next question comes from Gregory LaPerch, who also has a channel you guys should go check out. Gregory's the first guy I did a buddy read with, and we did The Girl in the Stars, which, getting ready to read the Girl in the Mountain, it certainly makes me think of old Gregory. And he, of course, puts in, a Sanderson trolling comment, which we're not going to go into because I see what he's doing and we're not going to play that game. But his question is, what made you want to live in Alaska? Were you born or raised there? And also, do you think Alaska is the most grimdark state in the USA? Well, I didn't really choose to live in Alaska in the beginning. I was moved up here as a kid, and I was raised on the Kenai Peninsula, and since then I've lived in a couple different places here in Alaska, and I've left and I've moved back as an adult. So that's kind of like when I made the conscious decision to actually live in the state, because there's many things that I do love about Alaska. There's definitely stuff I don't, though, as well. There's plenty of stuff I miss about the States. But yeah, Alaska is a lot of fun, and I just think that it's a great place to raise kids in, really. And being a family man, it's just kind of nice. It can also be a shitty place to raise kids, though, too, once they start getting a little older. So it's one of those weird deals. You just kind of got to figure out balance, I guess. I wasn't born here. Yeah, like I said, I was born in San Diego. So I'm from California originally, and I went back to California after I left Alaska, and I love California. It's just also a place that it's just built for me to self-destruct at a rapid rate, though, too. So it's probably good that I'm in Alaska. And do I think it's the most grimdark state? Yeah, I fucking do, because we're cold as fuck. You know what I mean? Here in Fairbanks, it got like negative 40 degrees. There's nothing more grimdark than negative 40 degrees. Okay, so the next question is not a question, because John Doe says that he kind of clams up in situations where he's asked to ask a question. So we're just going to give John Doe a big old shout out and just say thank you for participating, buddy, and thanks for being a supporter of the channel. Fuck yeah. Okay, so the next question comes from Eric McClune, and it says, do you need to rename as Not So Slowly Read? And probably, I mean, when I started the channel, yes, it was a funny name to give myself, because I just, I read slow, or, but the thing is with consistency, guys, you're going to get faster. You're going to get better. It's just the way this thing works. Nobody's born with a reading brain. It literally takes the effort. The more effort you put in, the better you're going to get at it. And now look at me. I'm just, reading books at a rapid rate. And I never even thought I would read as fast as I do today, but it's all because I've just stayed in it and kept going. And that's why I always encourage you guys. And this is also why I'm trying to help. I do the slow and the struggling sections because I'm trying to help people kind of keep on the path. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens, all right? Okay, so the next question comes from David Desero. Once again, my buddy David Desero, you should really go check out his channel. I very much encourage you to do so. Also, look out for our discussions on the Tower of Living and Dying, Anna Smith Sparks books. I just have a whole lot of fun bullshitting with David. David asks, what's your favorite story that is not grimdark, dark fantasy, or horror? Basically, what's something wholesome that you enjoy? Well, nothing, David. I only enjoy filth. No, I mean, like I said earlier, the Silmarillion, in Tolkien, are really, I hold near and dear, and I would say that that's not filth or dark or grimdark. Though I do think that the Silmarillion holds some of the most tragic stuff I've ever read, and, amongst pages, it's still, it's a very wholesome, world-building tale of one of the most beautiful worlds ever created. So that is my answer. David's second question is kind of like the one of the last ones there. Has your reading speed increased since you started the channel, and have you considered changing your name to Quickly Read? No, I'm not. I don't think I'll ever change that name, even if it bugs me at times. I'll just probably always keep the Slowly Read name for this channel. But yes, my reading speed has it's more than doubled. It's doubled just in fact of just keeping consistent and running this channel. But then also something I probably need to do a video on is when I changed over to Kindle, I read so much faster on that fucking Kindle. It's amazing. I was super hesitant and just not wanting to make the switch. And once I did, I've been blasting through stuff like crazy. I don't know if it's because I can make the font bigger or what. It's just Kindle, I just scorched through shit. So yes, my reading speed is more than doubled since starting a channel. Next question comes from Nick Carlson, and he asks, who is your favorite author? So this kind of goes back almost like Sim is asking me what my favorite series is. I have to say that it's really a struggle for me because it just is, guys. My favorite authors are definitely Mark Lawrence, Michael R. Fletcher, and R. Scott Baker. And there are some other ones that are kind of making a big noise there, and working their way really up into that top tier status for me. But it's those three gentlemen as of right now that I just hold very near and dear, and I will be reading everything. I've already devoured almost all of their work. And if they put anything else out new, it's on my radar. I love those guys, and I love what they're doing. Okay, the next couple questions are from Lauren again, and these are unanswerable questions, but they're good nonetheless. And he asks, first, is Logan Ninefingers Cnaiur Sciotha, or is Cnaiur Sciotha Logan Ninefingers? Well, Lauren, I think you just melted everybody's mind. Thank you. Now what am I going to do with the rest of this time I got left? They ain't going to listen. The brains are mush. Okay, so the next question is for Yatesh Yadav, and he asks, how do I approach reviewing? How do I approach my book reviews? And honestly, guys, I just tried not to create so many rules when it comes to reviewing. I don't want to paint myself in a corner like I did when I first started the channel. I had a specific group of things I would talk about, like pacing and tone, and that was it. I just think that every book is different, so you got to approach every review differently. What is it that really speaks to you about the book? You know, let's focus on that. And I think every reviewer has their own strengths and weaknesses as well. Mine personally, I understand feelings, and I also have a really good sense of humor, so I use a lot of that shit in my reviews, and that's just how I approach it. What are the glaring aspects of the book, whether they're good or bad, and how can I kind of bring a little bit of my own flair to that while being constructive and helpful? How can I help you? That's another big part of how I approach my reviews. I want to help the slow and the struggling reader as much as I want to just review these books and talk about them. Okay, and the last question I got on this is from Cameron Houston, who has asked. We answered this question, but we'll ask it again. It's just asking what's my favorite period in history, and what's a historical period that really captured my imagination. Once again, it's just really rolling back to Roman history. Man, there's so much that happens within, that huge chunk of time that is fucking insane. Not just in human behavior and like warfare, but also in like advancements in technology and stuff. As well as I actually am very also, like ancient Greece is another thing that really I enjoyed like devouring as a kid as well. I love Greek mythology. I really got into like the Iliad and the Odyssey and all those tales as a kid as well. That of course they were the children's versions of these books, but this stuff really sparked a lot of interest in me as a youth. And made me really, that was one of the first times I really started to understand that reading could be kick-ass, and it was because I had this somewhat obsession with Greek mythology and Greek history, and that's really what led me into loving Roman history so much. But once again, thanks Cameron, and I hope you are enjoying the channel. Well, alright guys, that's all I got. That's all the questions. It's been a really good year. I am looking forward to the next one, and I hope you will stick this one out with me and just continue down this dark and dastardly path side by side with your friend, me, Slowly Red. Like I said, guys, I got a whole bunch of shit coming down the pipe, man, and it is all dark and awesome. And please, stay tuned for all that. I got a White Luck Warrior spoiler video coming out this weekend, and I should be home here fairly soon as well, so excited for that, and hopefully the production value of these videos will start to increase once again. Alright, I know you guys probably don't give a shit. Maybe you do. I don't know. Let me know. Alright. You guys know what fucking time it is, alright? Peace.